This is the Hardcore Marketing Show. My name is Casey Cheshire. Today's show is sponsored by Cheshire Impact, helping you maximize your marketing automation in your CRM. And ladies and gents, my guest today is none other than Ryan Shank, who is the CEO, founder of Phonewagon, which we're going to talk about, phone tracking for marketing. Amazing. And he's a vlogger, a YouTube sensation. All the millennials are going crazy. Yeah, huge following and all around cool guy. How's it going, Ryan?
It's awesome. Thank you so much for having me here.
We just nailed that intro.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just nailed it. So welcome here. We were chatting earlier about the theme for this month is around that success index for marketing automation. We're always encouraging people before you go build something, click on something. We got to make sure you got all the steps in before that done and understand. Last month was understanding your buyer. This month is really getting your measurements down, getting your analytics set up so you get an ROI, because old school marketing is action based. I was on a call today. Oh, they want me to do more of this, more of that, all action impressions, stuff like that. But we know that now we got software, including Phonewagon, which we'll talk about, where we can actually track that initial click, that all the way through trickle, sales calls, all the way through to revenue. And so the theme of this month is measuring ROI. So I'm so stoked that you're here.
Yeah.
Because you literally created, and there was a gap in the phone gap. But let's start out with dropping gauntlets, because this is hardcore marketing. So if you want to just drop some bombs here and beat up some just ridiculous strategy you're seeing out there, or just kind of dispel some myths, let's just punch those in the face right now.
Yeah. So obviously, just thank you again for having me. I know we've been chatting a lot about the space and what people are doing out there. Obviously, marketing automation, but then being able to track that all the way to sale, which kind of closes the loop with ROI. But I think there's a ton of misconceptions out there. And the first one, obviously, that I'm really close with right now is the fact that, everyone's assuming that chatbots are taking over. People are doing all these unassisted sales. Like they can just go and they go to a site and this chatbot just magically gets someone to buy a product and things like that. And at the end of the day, if you look at the data, that's just simply not happening. What we saw when we looked at the data is that, in particular phone calls, well, first, before I go there, let me take a step back and just kind of the shift in search, right? Let's talk about business in general, right?
Well, hold on a second. Phone? Are you saying phone is not dead?
Phone, the phone is dead, right? Millennials don't use the phone. But if you think about it, 70% of searches happen on a mobile device now, and that number was only 30% just 5 years ago.
Okay.
So people are doing
We're on our phones. Totally.
And in my opinion, they're getting conditioned to not want to just arbitrarily or blindly submit their information to a form that they know they're going to get dropped into, a drip campaign, or who knows if someone's even going to get back to them, especially if they have something that's what I'm calling a considered purchase, right? If you need to talk to someone, you need that consultation, you want information. People right now are used to instant gratification. Hey, I need the information. I'm on a mobile device. I'm one thumb tap away. And by the way, those people who are doing or making those calls are way further down the funnel than someone that's submitting a form and just kind of inquiring about information. They've done all the research. They've done all the diligence. So what we're seeing is that phone calls are actually exploding to small businesses right now.
Okay.
And tying this back is not a lot of people are tracking the calls, which we can get into later. But what's happening, and I think, if you think of an e-commerce site, like I was talking about, the dream is that someone comes to the site, they just, shop around, they just auto convert, right? Unassisted sale. It's beautiful.
Click, buy, like Amazon.
Yeah, obviously, you know the ad spend that got them there. How much revenue they brought in. The whole loop is closed, and it's just really clean. But the fact of the matter is, people are live chatting in, people are calling. There's a breakage in the customer journey, and then the sale actually happens either later, maybe even weeks later. Who knows if they still have the cookie on the browser that you're going to be able to tie it all into, or maybe a salesperson entered the sale, from their side of the house.
Right.
So I guess the myth that I'm trying to bring up or
smash,
if you will, is the fact that there's all this commerce that's happening right now. Sorry, I'm trying to get great lighting right now. My light almost fell. So
you want to take a makeup break? We can, get some powder on your nose.
Yeah, I might need that in these little. I think these are like padded walls too.
Is that even a wall? You sure that's not like your basement?
Yeah, it's just like what's the stuff called that makes it warm inside?
It's like insulation.
Insulation, yeah. It's just like an insulated room. No, so that's what's happening, right? Phone calls are exploding. People they want to talk to someone. They want to get that information because, like, at the end of the day, they're able to find out most of the stuff. They're able to find that top of the funnel information online, doing the research and stuff.
Do it themselves, kind of thing. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they want to talk to someone. They want to be consulted. Let's say I'm talking to a lawyer, or I need to talk to someone to do like a remodeling project. Do I get granite countertops? Do I get quartz countertops? I want someone to help me with that purchase. This isn't going to be the case for all verticals. However, for some things that I would say are unskilled labor, like obviously an Uber, if you can actually find the Uber, then you don't need to talk to the driver. Like he knows exactly where you need to go. Sure. It's like an unskilled, like transactional type thing. Those potentially replaced with robots later. But things that are going to be, but things that, you need to talk to someone, maybe a dentist, maybe a therapist, maybe plastic surgeon. Like these are all verticals that we're seeing, are requiring, and 90% of their leads, by the way, are phone calls. And the cool thing that I think personally is cool, maybe obviously I'm not even, maybe
we'll find out. I'll let you know.
Plastic surgery. Yeah. No. And it's all cash out of pocket. It's like $10K per job. It's great. No wonder the clicks are like $40 a click.
Is that how you got your nose to look so straight like that?
That mixed with great lighting,
okay, good.
and the headset for, to make it, like the relativity of
it's working.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Yeah.
So anyway, verticals like that, phone calls are 90% of their leads, if you can believe that. It's crazy. And the crazy stat to me is that the leads that come from phone calls convert at 3 times higher than web leads. Okay. So what I'm finding is that phone calls and live chats are the same thing. I'm saying phone calls a lot, but live chat, and I'm talking like human being live chat, not bots, because I don't know too much about the bot chatbot.
That's okay. Hey, shoot holes in it if you need to. That's cool.
No. I mean, it's funny though. We have Intercom on our site. I love Intercom. Actually, the thing that my phone just pinged was Intercom. And I try to respond to them fast enough. Yeah. And I think people are like, "Are you a bot?" Like they get mad. Like I'm not a bot. And then I like send them a selfie like in the Intercom.
They're like, prove it.
Yeah. And they're like, "Oh, what's up?" And they love that they can like reach a human that fast. And my point in saying that is that web leads. Businesses just aren't responding to them fast enough, right? So it's like even if it is a good lead, the response time that is necessary for good leads is like under 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we're seeing an average response time to web leads is like 2 hours, and these business owners are only responding to them. And this is a general statement, so it's not everyone, but they're only responding to following up with them a few times, right? And if we know the stat that 80% of sales are made in the 5th to 12th contact, right? You have to respond to them fast, and you have to keep following up with them, and that's not happening. And that's why we're seeing phone calls as such a higher quality lead, and they're converting at such a higher rate. It's like it's insane that you wouldn't be spending more time on this and focusing on this. And that's why what we're seeing in the space is like all these marketers out there are spending all of this money. They're driving people to pages that have 3 different conversion actions. It's either a phone number at the top of the page, well, usually it's all 3. Phone number at the top of the page, a form, and then a live chat, right? And these 3 things are all the possibilities of what could be converted. And then but 60% of them, or maybe even 70% of them, are only tracking one of those as like a lead conversion, which is the form.
Right.
So that's a lot for just a little myth buster, but those are just kind of things that I'm seeing. It's like, these are higher quality leads happening more often. Business owners are closing more, and they're not tracking them.
Phone is definitely down the funnel, right? It's like the people that are picking up the phone aren't usually the early stage. Well, I guess maybe for some of the smaller businesses, but when we see if people are calling, it's like the people filling out a contact us. There's not as many of them, but they're certainly ready to go. So it's like rather than play around, you mentioned the sales reaching out to leads. That's the challenge, right? Marketing, we're like, they're ready, and then some are, some aren't, and you got to be really careful, because if you tell sales they're ready and they're great leads, and then they get them and they're not ready and they're not great, that response time, it works against it yourself. And then I was talking to a friend this morning actually, and he was struggling with the fact that no matter he just literally a genius with marketing automation, marketing strategy, and his sales team is it's not his sales team, but the sales team is receiving his leads, taking anywhere from 5 to 7 days to respond to them. And you mentioned hours. Yeah, I was at a big agency once where we did a report, and they found within the hour had just almost 80-20, about 70% more likely to connect with them off the bat.
Yep.
Because they were ready to talk because they had just been in that loop, as opposed to trying to track them down later on when they're doing something else. They're picking up their kids from day school or whatever. So phone is definitely hot, but I've always kind of shied away from it because I never really had a good way of tracking it. So some landing pages, I might even just strip the phone numbers off of there, so you don't have a choice but to go into the form, because I didn't have anything that would be able to, link back and say, because I don't want to lose that tracking. What if that phone call was amazing? Do I still credit it back to that $20 ad click,
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously, I think, the trouble that a lot of people are in. And I think too, your use case is, hey, I don't want to put it there because I can't track it. I think a lot of people just make this, arbitrary assumption. Oh, who's going to call? Like, I wouldn't call, so I'm not going to put it there. And if you think about the buyer, obviously there's different types of buyers, different buyer personas and that sort of thing. And it's interesting to us, just personally, like who we're seeing call in, and it's like, we would think, call tracking, most of our customers are like digital marketing agencies and stuff, but then we'll get people calling in from these larger companies that aren't really too deep in the space, that are more of like an internal marketing department. At like this one guy I can think of off the top of my head, he runs marketing for like a hearing aid company, right? Kind of random vertical in-house marketing. He's just like doing search online, but he's like, more of an old school mindset, wants to talk to someone on the phone. Hey, tell me a little bit about, what this is. And he's telling me his pain points. And it's like more of a traditional sales cycle versus a, hey, sign up for the trial, auto convert, upgrade, let's be honest. I mean, that's the dream, but that doesn't happen, I would say, most of the time. And I think you have to sort of adapt and say, hey, like, I want to give myself the best chance of success. So I'm going to let the buyer choose, which type of communication they're going to have.
Right. Like choose your own adventure, right? As opposed to forcing them down a funnel. Now, I may be forcing them to go form in the past because I didn't know there was options.
Yeah.
But not easy options. And then some other people are probably going the opposite. They don't know how to do the forms or marketing automation, and they're not even doing forms. They're doing like an email to link.
Yeah.
And then here's my phone number. Call me. But to your point, give people an option.
Give them and the thing is, nowadays, like, there's ways, for instance, if your thesis is like, hey, I want to get them in the form so I can drip on them and do marketing automation and put them in some sequencing and stuff like that. Like, there's ways to still do that with the phone call. Like, you can get the incoming phone call, feed the marketing automation system with that information, and still drip on them, or still hit them with, like, whether you want to drip on them through emails or you want to hit them with some offers and text messages, things like that. You can still do all of that, but the phone call being the initial, or the live chat. By the way, I'm saying phone call a lot, but I'm a huge believer right now in live chat, especially intercom, just because I've seen the impact that it's had on our business.
Cool.
And so I'm saying those things.
I mean, I think we actually chatted the first time. I read one of your articles, and then on LinkedIn, I think, and then I came through to the site, and it's like, hey, and I'm like, oh, okay, hi. Yeah. I liked your article.
It's so funny. So many people do that. So and by the way, I have like one good article out that ranks really high. I wrote like one guest post on KISSmetrics, and like everyone that comes in through it is like not the target audience.
Oh no!
It's because the article is, here's how I built and launched a SaaS company for $40K, and it's on KISSmetrics, like high page rank. I actually was pretty proud of it. It's pretty like tactical and stuff. But anyway, it ranks #1 organic if you search for like build SaaS company. So we get all these people that come in through it. Not our audience, but it's still cool just to see them come in and see content marketing work and stuff like that. But yeah, so most people will come in, and then we hit them with the live chat pop, and then they like tell, like, my and again, I haven't really fully tested it. We're getting like way off topic in the live chat, but anyway, it's like I say, hey, what are you looking to solve with call tracking? So I'm like proactively pinging them, asking them a question, but I'm looking to just engage them in conversation, which I would argue you should do that and be curious and let the buyer talk in sales as well. Like, hey, what are you looking to solve? And then usually they're like, oh, I'm looking for, to track my incoming calls. And then we also get like really bad quality traffic where people are like, oh, I'm looking to like track my spouse. And we're like, we don't do that.
Right. Hey, do people call? They must call then too as well, and then you're able to track.
So we get mainly the people that call are looking for like UPS tracking, and we're like, we're not that either. Those are the people that call. Like especially around Christmas, so like I'm looking to track my packages. We're like, no, we're call tracking for marketers. And then the people that chat in, usually late night, like track spouse, track stolen car, things like that. And I guess they're just exact match search terms that are just like call tracking, track my call. I don't know. It's crazy because there's so many negatives in there, and then these still come through, and we're like, man, how do we like get them? Like, not coming through. Anyway, that's
crazy. No, okay. So the first myth was phone is not dead, and the second one is that you can actually track it. Now, I've bumped into some companies in the past where it's like a big deal setting up a project. So really, I was excited about your app. Call it an app, I guess. Service.
Oh, it's a wagon.
Your wagon.
My wagon.
What I was excited about your wagon is that it was really easy to set up. And I think that there's this big barrier. It's like, well, these big companies out here, they can track phone. And the secret is they probably can't either because it was so complicated they couldn't even set it up. And they're not even. So, maybe just like what's the Phonewagon in a nutshell, just so we can kind of level set there. Because it sounds like you bumped into all these things, and we'll get to how you did this and how you started, but you created this company to address this need you saw. So like Phonewagon, 2 seconds. What is that?
Yeah, so simple, beautiful call tracking software. We're helping marketers track which ad campaigns are generating phone calls that turn into revenue. And it's as simple as that. Because at the end of the day, what you want to know is any of your lead sources. You want to know where they came from, because assuming you're doing ad spend to generate those
ROI.
Leads. Yeah. ROI, exactly. You want to know where they came from. You want to know if they converted to lead, and then if they converted to sale, right? So you want to get the count, but you also want to get the actual revenue amount. At the end of the day, you want to say, look, I spent $5K in ad spend and I got $40K in revenue. Okay. Like you want to know what those numbers are, what's going out and what's coming in, and how did you do it, right? Maybe you spent $5K, you got $40K, but $1,000 of your $5,000 was doing nothing. So you could literally just chop it, spend $4K and get the same $40K. So that's what we're doing, and by the way, like I was saying, if you're only tracking, so it's so crazy. Like I talk to businesses all the time. They're not tracking phone calls at all. They're spending all this money, but it's like, if you're only tracking web leads, you're artificially inflating your cost per lead, because you're saying I spent this much money and I got 10 leads. But if you got 10 phone calls as well, you actually got 20 leads.
Yeah, you did.
So your denominator is doubling, which means you basically, your cost per lead is going in half, assuming that happens.
And assuming one of those leads might make you 20 or 200K in revenue. If you had a one phone call, you spent, $2K on this ad group, but you came back 100%. With 200. Hey, that's worth it.
Or you might have killed the entire ad group because you said this might have killed it. Nothing. Yeah, this is getting nothing. I'm going to turn it off. But it's like, no. That ad group is getting you phone calls. And by the way, when I was saying 10 web leads, 10 phone calls, those phone calls aren't worth the same as those 10 web leads. Because like I was saying, those converted 3 times higher. The 10 web leads, you might have converted 1 sale, but the phone calls, I bet you convert 3 or 4. So it's actually worth like 3x the amount. And the fact that you're not tracking it. So one, your cost per lead is only going to be in half, but your cost per sale is actually be like a quarter of that, because you're getting like 4 times the amount of sales from it. So when I talk to all these businesses, like kind of going back to your question, it's like, this is not getting tracked. It's such a big deal. It's such a big deal. Right. And how do you build an easy way for them to do it? Because look, at the end of the day, if it's price prohibitive or if it's too difficult, these are business owners or their agencies. I'm talking about more of the business owner being able to
small
sell
business too, though. Small medium-sized biz.
Exactly. It's like, how do you make something almost consumer grade, easy, like dead simple, easy to use? Think of like a Trello, just like, look, it doesn't need to be complicated. I even the word like analytics software just seems heavy. Software is like a crazy heavy word sometimes. It's like, look, I just want to be able to just one click button, add the number, drop a little snippet of code onto my site, boom, track it, see it in analytics, see it in AdWords, see it in Pardot, whatever it is, and make it easy for them to use. And then the other thing that so that's what we set out to solve.
Cool.
And so, yeah.
That's cool. It's funny you mentioned analytics. We spent an hour talking to Joseph on the last episode, diving into there's the different definitions of analytics, and one of them is AI, which spun us off in a rabbit hole talking about
not Allen Iverson,
murderous robots, and yeah. But so keeping it simple, and to your point, there's marketers out there that it might you might be yourself or 3 people in that company, and you want to get the tracking, but you can't spend a whole person's time doing it. It's like, I got a job. Like, I can't care and feed for this thing. I just need to set it up, get the reporting, get the metrics, and then keep doing what I'm doing,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And again, kind of going back
how does it work? Is it what, flash code, or like you drop some?
Yeah, so the way that ours works for marketers for online campaigns is we create what's called a dynamic number.
Cool.
And basically what that is, it's a little snippet of JavaScript that we drop onto a site. If you have a WordPress site, any type of unbound site, whatever you're doing as a marketer, little snippet of code just in like the HTML inserter, tool, whatever it is. And what that does is it rotates the numbers on the site. We have a pool, we do like a quick pool of numbers.
That's cool. Yeah.
And then they rotate. So each visitor actually sees a different number, and it's session based. So effectively every session will get displayed one of these numbers. So when someone calls the number, we know which session made that number call, like which session that number is attributed to at that time. So then we're able to attribute the phone call to the session, which then we get all the data in the cookie from that session, and we're able to do that, attribute that back to the call.
So that's how you know if like this was an ad spend or this was organic.
Organic paid, but even inside of paid, like we're getting, especially if it's a Google paid, like we're getting everything in the Google Click ID.
Really, so get all the juicy
browser. Yeah, we're getting everything. We're displaying it to them. We have some people that they're only tracking it. Some of these other competitors and stuff, or other call tracking companies, like they'll track it like maybe to like AdWords, maybe to keyword. But the thing is, like if you want to identify, hey, you're only getting calls on like desktop, or you're only getting calls on this browser. Like we just want to give them insight so that marketers can optimize their campaigns more effectively, so that they can at the end of the day just like get more calls, like double down, triple down on what's working.
Yeah.
But that's the way we do it. Just less than 30 seconds, you can create the dynamic number, drop, copy and paste the code in, and then the number swapping. And then anytime someone calls, we're feeding that data into analytics and AdWords and displaying it on just a beautiful dashboard where they can see, all the calls.
Yeah, that's some magic stuff there. Now, I know you have connected that to HubSpot, and I think you've got something in the works now for Salesforce.
Yep. So we have it connected with HubSpot. We have dozens. We just launched it. We have like almost 50 agencies right now that have already connected it and are doing like thousands of calls through HubSpot every single day, which is really cool. We're launching the Salesforce Pardot.
Nice.
Should be next week. So we have the integration done. We're actually testing it out right now. So, I mean, cool. I think that is like next level, because again, even inside of, Pardot and Salesforce, you can also close the loop, because then anytime a deal is in status closed won, you're going to know the revenue from that deal attached to the phone call and the marketing source, and then that closes the loop on ad spend and revenue, which we're doing now, by the way, inside of Google Analytics for other clients that aren't using CRM.
Sure.
And that's something that, like, by the way, I looked at all these other call tracking companies, and one kind of what you said is like they're all identifying as self-service. And I was like, man, these guys do not have time to just guess their way through it or look through how-to articles and like figure it out and spend hours and hours. I was like, we want to be full service. But then everyone else is only tracking it to the lead. So they're saying, hey, a phone call over this duration, and then they'll like maybe parse some words out using some like really bad AI. And then they'll say like, we think this was a sale. And then they'll like attribute that sale like some random value based on like average dollar amount per sale. And what we're doing is saying like, that is just wrong. That's not the way that you should do it. You should actually, match it to a real sale, and then basically be able to say like, okay, this phone call with this source and everything is tied to this actual revenue event, e-commerce transaction, however they're taking the dollars, and then display that as like a true sale attached to the call.
Yeah. That's really cool, because now instead of being shy about capturing those late stage people, I can throw that phone number everywhere, and now I know I'm gonna be able to track it just as much as everything else.
Yeah. And if you think about it, I mean, a lot of sales cycles, like the sale happens later, right? Even in some cases, like lawyers, or you do proposal, like you do the phone call, you do the proposal. Oh, we just got a sale. And,
awesome! Congrats.
Yeah, that was nice. I have this push notification. It comes to my phone every time we get one, and like lights up like fireworks. It's awesome.
That's cool. Life of a startup, ladies and gents. That's what it is.
So I forget what I was saying. But
we're connected. So we were just saying you're connecting to Salesforce. So by the time people are listening to this,
yes. So
you'll be able to just tie it right into Salesforce, and what matches up what phone number?
Yeah, exactly. So it'll match up the phone number to well, with Salesforce, it's different because we're going to push the phone call into Salesforce. We're either going to match it to an existing contact or create a contact, add the activity record. And then when the status is closed won, we're going to be able to take the value in there. I think what I was saying before that, though, was that if they're not using Salesforce, we're matching it up as well. But we're matching it up to we're matching it up to a transaction, right? And
yeah, like Google Analytics. Yeah, like more the B2C side. Yeah.
Yeah, or if you're like a lawyer or something, right? Let's say you do the phone call and then the sale happens like a month later. We're able to take the sale a month later and then kind of search, was this phone number from inside of this sale a month later, match to any phone calls, then boom, tie them both together and then say, hey, this is the revenue that came from this phone call, even though the phone call happened a month ago.
It's really important, it's really important, especially marketers trying to justify the seat at the table, doing all this work, all this spend. And sometimes those calls come in and then sales are like, yeah, I closed this deal in a day.
It also is interesting, just thinking through our own like financial model. If you think about it, your ad spend today, there's going to be different cohorts of like when, let's say I spend $10,000 today, right? Month 0, I might close, let's say 5 sales, or let's say $1,000. I might close another 2,000 in month 2, maybe 0 month 3, but maybe month 4, these bigger deals I've been working, I close like $20,000, right? So this one-time 10K spend is going to have different cohorts that are going to close over time.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's important for marketers to be able to continuously like track that, because look, those leads can't, and obviously it's, same thing with leads and that sort of thing. But it's like, if things are coming in and closing over time that you might not have had the right tracking to, it's like, how are you going to know that 10K, because like if you're reporting back, hey, what did this 10K get us? It's like, oh, I'm going to have to tell you in like 6 months or a year what that 10K got you, because that 10K is still coming in. The revenue from that 10K is still coming in.
Especially those B2B guys where their sales cycle is longer, and what we've always told people is the longer your sales cycle, the more help you can get by these tools and things like marketing automation, and because you can just really double down and shorten that sales cycle. If you got like a 1-second sales cycle, lasts a day and you're selling,
I'm jealous.
Something crazy. Yeah, we're all jealous, but enjoy the 75-cent transaction value. But everyone else, though, I once bumped into someone. I think they said like, "Yeah, mine's a year, but a year and a half, 2 years. That gets crazy. You might not even be around by the time your lead."
I know.
Point. So that's just crazy. But yeah, I mean, so okay, cool. So we tie all those things in together, and we make it simple. Is there? I use Phonewagon.com to sign up for like a demo or just go ahead and.
Yeah,
it's like a trial, like a free trial.
Yeah. So we have a free trial,
cool.
14-day free trial. It comes with one number. So what we usually tell people is, look, sign up for the trial, no credit card required. Add a number, do a test call, see how the number shows up in your dashboard, sync it to analytics, see how the number shows up as an event or conversion.
Can you style the number to make sure it hits like fits into your site?
100%. Yeah. We have auto styling, so when it drops in, it'll auto match like the styling on the site.
Yeah, it's like a beautiful site and this wonky number over here, but instead it just kind of seamlessly fits.
Or it's like, or there's like brackets on it, and then there's like not brackets, or if it's like an international number, it's formatted as a US number, and people are like, what?
Right. Dear no name. Yeah. Gross. So how long have you been doing this? You created this a couple years ago?
So I started building it at the end of 2016. I really launched, got first paying customer in January of 17. So I would say right a little over a year.
Okay. Oh, wow. So a little over a year now. Now one of the things that I really enjoyed watching is you actually, for a while, were doing a daily vlog. You're doing like a little quick YouTube video about, I don't know, the life of a startup founder, just grinding, right? And just building this or trying to find this customer, having a meeting here. It was really interesting. And I think some videos have more views than others because some of those topics are just universal. But as someone else who has created something, or anyone else that's interested in creating, just watching the evolution, and some days you're high on life, some days you're like, man, this is work. But it was really fast. Is there a short link to that? Because we can link people to that.
We can throw the link in the description, just youtube.com.
Or just search your name on YouTube. Is that probably the best bet?
Yeah.
So I mean, what's this been like? You got this idea. Now, did that come from previous work doing marketing or previous work doing other things where you identified that gap? Were you sniffing? Were you looking for something to start, and this it reared its ugly head, or how did that evolution happen?
So definitely happened from just experience in the past. So when I first graduated from college, I worked at this startup called Yext, YEXT in New York, and what they were doing when I worked there was we were selling calls to local businesses as leads. So it was a pay per call model. So we were literally selling to like chiropractors, pest control, dentists, plumbers, HVAC. We were selling them calls and leads effectively. We're using tracked numbers, driving them calls, and then saying, hey, if you get a good call over a certain duration, if certain words were stated in the calls, then we're going to charge you, per call, per lead, anywhere from like $20 to $80, depending on the industry, right? Like a chiropractor call is like $40, remodeling is like $80, whatever it is. So that's when I first got introduced to like lead gen, value of phone calls, kind of like using mass numbers, tracked numbers, that sort of thing. That was like really, really interesting. And I also caught the startup bug because I went to school in like Clemson. They don't really have startup stuff there. There's like football and like
there's football.
There's like a football and like that's it. So
this is probably not an ad for Clemson then.
I mean, no, they're awesome. No, they're awesome. There's not like a thriving like tech VC startup scene there, So when I moved to New York, because it was the only job I got this like random cold calling job for like $28K base plus commission. My parents were like, "You're doing that?" And I was like, "Yeah, well, literally, it's the only thing I got." Okay. It sounds great. No, but I
enjoy paying that student loan bill off, right?
I was like, "Oh, I only have $50K in student loans. What could go wrong? I'm moving to New York."
It'll take me 2 years if I don't spend any money anywhere else.
Maximum 2 years. Got this. So did that, and I thought it was awesome. Got introduced to like startups, venture capital, just like sales. I was living in New York City with all these kids right out of school, all sales types kids, and I was like, man, this is like really cool. I really like sales. I really like startups, that sort of thing. So then I moved down to Virginia and I started working at this other startup, and basically they were like back office software for the same types of businesses.
Wait, so you went from like crushing it in New York City, Starbucks in hand, to Virginia?
To like rural Virginia.
Rural Virginia?
Not like right outside
farming?
Arlington. I'm talking like rural. like fields. Like I think like the biggest attraction was like that they do this like corn maze. If you ever gone to corn maze.
Yeah, sure. Were they still on AOL dial-up when you went there? Or?
We worked at AOL. That's the next funny. That's the next part of the story. Is that we literally worked at – so AOL has this massive campus in Dulles, Virginia, and they have so much extra room there that they let – or I guess not let – they have this like startup incubator where it's just pretty much free office space. It's not an accelerator. They don't take any equity. There is an application process, but it's basically the whole idea is so – because one, AOL has a ton of extra space and they want to make the campus vibrant still and like have energy and like startups and like bring life to the people that are there. These are pretty much all assumptions, by the way. They're like, not fact. But we don't want to let fact get in the way.
Asterisk there.
Yeah. No. But I mean, that's all true, right? There is a huge campus. They let startups come there, no equity, all that stuff.
Well, they're just one step ahead of Yahoo, right?
Are they ahead?
Yeah. No, I'm just saying, like they're a little bit. Are they? They're newer. They're newer than Yahoo. Because like Yahoo's trying to reinvigorate themselves too, but.
This was like when I was there. It was like pre-Yahoo becoming cool again.
Years ago. Like
it was like 2013, into 2012, 2013. So anyway, moved down to Virginia. It was actually because I was dating this girl, and I was like,
that's probably the real story there. I was thinking, why did you leave
New
York for Virginia?
That is
a startup from AOL. It's amazing.
No, I moved down there for this girl, and then we broke up, and then I was like, shit, now I'm stuck in rural Virginia. Like, what do I do?
I know, AOL.
AOL. What's the biggest tech company here? AOL.
Right.
So then so anyway,
you're doing that. You're crushing it, AOL style.
I would
every day.
That's also a stretch, but we don't want to again let fact get in the way.
Sure.
No, so I'm at this startup where basically it's selling software, like back office software to the same types of businesses that I was selling leads to. So it was like work order software, field service software, that sort of thing. We ended up, we ended up like growing the business. The business ended up growing. It was awesome, but I just got, I was still in conversations with these guys. So I was like really familiar. I felt like with SMB and with like, lead gen in general. And I was also doing stuff on the side, just a little bit, throwing up landing pages, driving calls to businesses that I would like find on Craigslist and stuff like that, just to like test out like lead gen tactics and things like that. And then that company got acquired by Home Advisor in like 2014, I think. So then I stayed there till like early 2016, and I was basically just like trying to figure out like what to do. And by the way, we had used call tracking there. And so I was like familiar with it. I wanted to do my own thing, and as I was self-reflecting, I was starting to say like, look, what have I done? What do I know? I was like, I don't know consumer. I've realized I didn't know a lot, by the way. I was like, I don't know consumer.
Hey, that's valuable.
I don't know enterprise. I don't know e-commerce, but I feel like I know SMB. So I wanted to do something with SMBs.
And Twilio for sure.
What's up?
And phones for sure, right?
Well,
Everything you did was phones.
This is how the phone thing. And then so I was like, I want to do something with SMB. I want to sell SaaS to SMBs. Okay. So like, what do I sell them? I don't know. I was trying to figure it out for a while. But then Twilio IPO'd, so I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like you can build cool stuff on top of Twilio. One, I saw this company called Dialpad, I believe, that came out from like Uber conference. So like there was, I started seeing like phone happening. And then there was this other company, it's basically like call center software kind of built on top of Salesforce. I thought that was interesting. I would really love if I could think of the name of that company. And then anyway, so then I was like, okay, well, like that's cool. I would love to like do something with phone. Started looking at the data.
Sure.
Phone calls were exploding. No one's really going after like call tracking. Some people were tackling like the phone, like aircall.io. Some people were tackling call center software. No one's really going after like call tracking, which I was like, that's crazy because like the tracking the calls and lead gen, that's like really, really important. There's a few companies in the space. So I was like, look, I'm just going to see if I can just get something off the ground for kind of cheap, fund it with my own money, and just see if I can like get paying customers. Like, cause I just needed something to do also. So I was like, let's just see if I can do that. So I like kind of did it really quick. I wrote a blog article on it on KISSmetrics about how I did it. We ended up started getting paying customers in like January.
What's the title of that blog? Because it's kind of it's a really cool story. So was it like 4K or no 40K?
Yeah. So the title is like, here's how I built and launched a SaaS company for less than 40K.
Yeah.
And then I break down, like I even put in the Google Docs that we use. So I hired a designer. I even put in like the wireframes, put in like the use cases, put in like all the docs that were in there, exactly how much I spent.
Because you're not like a programmer yourself, right?
No.
So you had to like find the right people.
I had to like find the right people, interview the right people, like figure out how to like get them the requirements. Like it was like not my skill set at all, but I was just super focused and I was like, look, I got to do this. Like I have to do it. There's nothing else I could do. Like I have to figure out a way. And I feel like once you go in, you laser in on something, you're like, all right, like there's no turning back. Like I'm going to figure this out. We were able to like,
did you burn the ships?
I burned the ships. That's what I told. So we just raised a round of funding, which we can talk about in a second. But I told them, I was like, and now I was like, I've put in $250K of my own money into this. I was like, I've burned the ships. I was like, I'm either going to die doing this or like, this is going to work. Like, cause I'm not giving up. Like I'm not going back.
Right. That reminds me of the opposite of like a Shark Tank thing where someone's like, yeah, I'm a full-time captain in the Air Force and I run this business over here. Oh, but this business right here, give me like a couple million. Don't worry, I'll run that too. And they're like, you're not going to run this too.
Yeah.
It's not even your main thing. But you were the opposite. You're like, yo, I have my watch is tied to the computer. If I die, this thing dies,
Yeah,
like,
that's what it's like.
Yeah.
That's why and also I think what happened, to be honest, I started off, it was on the side and I was like telling people, I was like, oh, I'm doing this little like Twilio like app on the side. Like I was like downplaying it. But then once I started doing it, started getting customers, I think one, it's also like intoxicating or addicting, right? You start seeing people that are using the product that you built out of thin air. It's like crazy. It's so cool. And then I just like wanted to win. So I was like at first I was like, I'd be cool to build like $1 million ARR business and like,
totally
kind of profitable and like chill. And like, I'll go to like Florida or something, whatever, like old retired chill people do. Yeah. And then I was like, oh,
get some passive income, drink a pina colada.
Kim Ferris, like work 4 hours, and like all that, like, and like, do stuff like that. But then I was like, oh man, like fuck, I want to like win. And then I started seeing these companies that are like doing cool stuff. I was like, man, we can beat them. Like we can beat these companies. Like there's not that many. And there's big companies in the space that are just dinosaurs. I'm like, we're going to
big, man. You can just disrupt that, right? Like they're slow moving, hard to set up.
There's a few there's a few decent competitors and they're good. So I'm like, oh wow, now it's like really competitive and like I'm trying to win too because like these guys are out there like really playing ball. Like so we went through, so doing that, I was like, all right, I'm all in. Went all in probably like April of 17, and then decided to do TechStars in this summer. So this summer of 17.
And TechStars, just describe that for.
So TechStars, it's a startup accelerator. It's similar to like a Y Combinator. Basically, 12 startups. You get accepted. If you get in, you get, they offer you $100K. Like convertible note, a convertible note, whatever.
Okay.
And then it's a 12-week program. They give you access to a ton of mentors. You get introduced to like a ton of like local seed stage and Series A investors, and they just put you through a very structured program. And I wanted to do it for the structure because I was like doing this on the side. I didn't really have like a huge any like accountability really, because it was like kind of just me doing it. And I was like, I really wanted that fire, and why I had like the internal. I was like, I really want to almost be like, I want, how it's like when you say a goal, you kind of put it out into the universe where it's like you tell someone you did it. Like I almost want to say like if you're like trying to lose weight, you're supposed to like say that you're going to lose weight. Like, hey, I'm going to be like, 20 pounds lighter. And like you told people, so it's like, I got to live up to that. So this was like, all right, I want to like do this program, get in front of people and be like, one, let them see the work.
Totally.
and then also like, once you start having employees, you feel like, hey, I got to like, shit, like I can't like this can't fail, like I can't like not let this person go on the street.
It's one thing when you're like you see the positive making a difference. The other thing is when you're like, hey, I got a huge team, and they're like, oh, I got a huge team, I got a huge payroll, man. Work for them. But it's funny you say put things out there. I remember a couple years ago when I was going to do my first triathlon, it was like a moment of wild genius where you're like, I know I'll do a triathlon. Never done one before. Didn't even know how, like, wasn't really even riding bikes that often. I just fall off them. So it's like, I'll do a triathlon. I put out there on Facebook, and then I forgot about it, and and was like, maybe I won't do it this year. And then a friend of mine was like, hey, you want to do that? You want to do that try in New Hampshire, coming up such and such? I'll do it with you. And I was like, yeah, okay. And it was like, you're right. You put it out there. You had some accountability.
Yep.
Just claiming that goal or claim like, I am going to do X,
Yep.
Even if it's the naysayers holding you accountable and harassing you on Twitter or whatever it is, just putting it out there. It has a really good effect.
Yeah. And then I think also I believe in like the universe, like things materializing. Like it's crazy. Things like that where they manifest, like things like that happen in my life all the time. Like it's so insane. People are like, oh, you get so lucky. And I'm like, I don't get lucky. I just put myself in situations to get lucky. And then I also I say and believe it. This random time, this happened like a couple weeks ago. I was going to this concert and I was like, way before the concert, I was like, man, I just want to catch a pick. Like when they catch the guitar pick, like randomly, the guitar pick. You know how like concerts, they throw the pick, and I was like, I just want to catch a pick. Like joking.
They're like tiny,
so tiny, and like 2 people ever catch them. So we like literally go and I catch the pick, and they're like, "Are you like serious? Like that actually happened?" And I was like, I was like not even
told
surprised.
everyone ahead of time, right? You're like,
literally said it to everyone ahead of time, and they're like, what the fuck? And I'm like, and I wasn't surprised at all. I was like, yeah, of course I caught the pick. Like, of course. And it was like, just things like that, where it's like,
out there,
hey, we're going to build this into like $100 million ARR company, $100 million annual recurring revenue company. And like, it's going to happen. I'm saying like 5 to 7 years, maybe it takes like 8.5, but like, it's going to happen. And like, I'm not going to be surprised, but it's like, you just got to like put things like that out there into the universe. And then like, the thing is like, I'll believe it, but then it's like, then if like my team starts believing it, and then like customers start believing it, like all these minds start believing it, and then like their minds start going through the motions of us becoming a $100 million ARR company, and then we start getting investors who are like building us financial plans to becoming that, and then it's like you start getting funded to be that, and then it's like, holy shit, like that just like happened.
Yeah.
And then it just like manifests. And I'm reading like books that say time and time again how this is like so real, and it's happened to me in like smaller instances throughout my life, and I'm just like, man, this is like going to happen.
And I love the goal size too. I was listening to 10X earlier today when I was crushing it on the track. People, Audible, you got to do that while you're working out. You'll forget, hey, I've been working out for an hour. How'd that happen? It's like, hey, make the goal 10X bigger than you think it should be. Some outrageous goal. Make it big, almost like that goldfish principle. I'm sure you've heard this, but anyone out there, goldfish grow to the size of their bowl. Right?
Oh, really?
So if you have a small bowl, the goldfish stays small. But if you've got a big bowl, they'll keep growing. It's crazy. But like, so I love the idea of make that goal 10X. So you're not saying like, oh, I want to get to like 2 million, recurring revenue.
No,
I
2
want to
million
grow.
is cute, but it's like that's not what we're
And
doing
it's
here.
great. It is really is good. It's amazing, right? Even
Yeah.
one is great, but then you're like, no, I'm putting out there. We're going here, you know, and then just working 10x harder than everybody else to get there.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, and I think like it's going to happen. It's so funny. I was watching this. So by the way, going back to the vlogs and everything, right? So I've the reason I did them is because I kept following. And this might seem random. I'm going to tie it back together.
Yeah.
Following. So what was happening is I was noticing like video is the most consumed content. You know, you start seeing like, hey, do people really consume these long form blog posts, which I think are great, and I think we're still going to do. We don't do that many of them, but I want to. Start putting them out.
It's great if you're a writer.
Yeah, it's like if you're a writer. And the other thing, by the way, it's really hard to outsource that stuff. What I used to do was record like voice memos and then send it to someone to then write. And then I would be like not really looking at it. It was just like wasn't great. Like if I sit down and do it, but it just takes so long because I like have ADD and I'm like I can't like just sit down and like write this like awesome article and I don't want to put out shitty content. But anyway, I was looking and I was saying like great, videos are the most consumed content. YouTube is like blowing. It felt like it was blowing up. It still feels like it's kind of like blowing up and kind of making this like comeback where people are consuming it. They're going in and they're like watching their people. And then I was like, well, these vloggers who are out there, one, they're like have massive influence, right? Massive followings, but like they don't really like do anything. They just do like pranks and like random things like that, or like, you know, here's how I, you know, bought a Lamborghini with pennies or something like that. So, or then on the flip side, you see like the Gary V's, the super serious that are like fucking hustle, business. I sleep 4 seconds every 3 days, like fucking crush. So it's like, how do you kind of like combine that and be like, all right, hey, I'm like more approachable. I'm more of like you and relatable, but I'm still going to like vlog, but I'm still doing business stuff. And then I feel like I wanted people to be like, oh wow, you're like just a normal person just doing this, but like, holy shit, you're like, you just like are building this company. Holy shit, you just raised like over $1 million. Holy crap, you have like hundreds of paying customers. Like maybe I should like pay attention to that. And if you kind of combine it, like Gary Vee says something like, you know, it has to be like inspirational, it has to be entertainment, and it has to be, there's some other pillar. And he's like, you got to kind of figure out how you want to weigh those. Yeah. And at first I kind of weighed it too much on like entertainment and I was just like looked like a douche. And I thought it more like serious.
Hey, I'm a crazy startup founder.
Yeah. I was like, whoa, way too YouTubey. Like,
but then eventually some of those you did, you were teaching people like a lesson learned. Like I think you had someone on your team like not steal or like just lie or something. Yeah. You just were transparent. You just shared like, I've never had this happen before. It blew my mind. Here's what I'm going to do about it. Here's how I'm going to prevent it from happening again. Yeah. So I saw you make that transition from just education. And I think Joe Chernoff actually says like make it entertaining or educational or both, you know?
Yeah. Oh, that's the other one. So it's entertaining, educational, or inspirational.
I like it.
Three pillars, and then it's like, how do you weigh? Do you go equal or do you go heavier on one? But either way, you need all three of those pillars. But that's exactly what happened. So it's like, and that's, by the way, kind of going back to this like compound effect type thing is like we were vlogging every single day. So the whole idea was like, hey, I want to create a vlog and document our journey going through TechStars because it's a startup accelerator. So I hired this guy off YouTube, flew him out to New York, put him up, paid him salary, and just to follow me around, be like a cameraman and editor for the summer. It was actually like really cool and fun. But the thing is, like, you're getting footage every single day and you're doing something consistent.
That sounds like you spent that TechStars money creatively.
Yeah, you know, it's like, but here's the thing. Here's the thing that I would argue. So one, we've gotten like articles and ink that I'm going to talk about from that. I would argue that this came from that. Like this wouldn't happen if that didn't happen. And then potentially me and you do something and then we go out there. So I would argue that cost is still going to come back and we're still going to
100%. Yeah. Long tail too.
You know? And the thing is, like, let's say I spent $15K on the vlog. So I would have to bring in, you know, let's say even like $30K in annual revenue or whatever, just to make it worth it. You know, it's like not a lot.
You know, content typically is evergreen, right? Yeah.
Evergreen. Yeah.
Jinx.
And so what I was saying is, so like one of the videos that you were talking about, you know, we got the guy who was like kind of like stealing basically. He's basically setting demos with himself and telling us that they were customers, whatever. So that video like did really
helpful too for all the marketers listening. They're like, yeah, sales. They're also sketch. What's the deal? So he was saying like, oh, I did a demo call. And he like definitely didn't do a demo.
No, so all right. So I had setters and closers, SDRs. They were just cold calling into agencies, setting demos with the agencies, and then our AEs or literally it was me. at this time. At this time, it was me. He was basically setting demos for me with marketers. Okay.
Yeah.
So the way I found it was he set this demo for this guy like Peter from Irvine, California. And by the way, this SDR, he's from like Columbus, Ohio, or like Tennessee, like thick Southern drawl. Okay. So he sends me that his name's Peter, who then his email was some Gmail address, which I always thought was like sketchy because it used to have the domain in it. And then I'm talking to him and it's like this Southern drawl guy. And he's saying his name's Peter from this place in Irvine, California. I'm looking Peter up on the website. I'm like, you do not sound like you look on the website, you know? And then I was just like completely thrown off. He didn't know anything about AdWords. I was asking him, I'm like, hey, are you doing like broad match modified keywords? Like I was trying to go really specific to get him to tell me like something. And the guy didn't know anything. So I was like, this is not him. So basically he was setting fake demos with himself because he got commissioned when the person showed up for the demo. I was commissioning them when someone comes and does a demo, right? And then the salesperson would get credit if they closed. So that's what he was doing, which is the craziest thing. But we use like Closio did a blog post about it, and then we got paying customers from that. So like I would argue like one, I don't like get upset really. It was just like I was like confused, and I was like, I feel like it's like a learning opportunity, but also I feel like even the content that we were able to capture from that is going to actually help us monetize way more than we even like spent paying him.
Sure.
I just kind of like twisted the language pretty much for the internet's sake. I'm like, sales rep caught lying and stealing to my face, you know, like emotional in like asterisks, whereas like it's just like for like YouTube. But it was crazy. You catch those things, you know, and that's the thing is like when you're doing stuff consistently, you're gonna catch little like, I'm not saying breaks, but like little things like that are gonna catch on.
Right.
And that's why when I listen to like YouTubers do like podcasts and interviews and they're saying like, oh, I do these videos every single day. One of them one of them goes viral, boom, then they get a huge following, or like one of them caught on, you know? So it's like the act of this consistency and doing something every single day that then I think kind of materializes over time because like some things are going to catch on.
Right. Yeah. You just set that regular tempo. Does that really, I think you were talking about a book you're reading?
So there's a book called The Slight Edge. And that's what he says is like, you know, if you want to be successful, all you have to do is simple daily disciplines is basically what the slight edge is. And whether that's like eating, I mean, it's all of them, right? But it's like eating healthy, working out every single day, and just doing these little disciplines that compound over time. And the whole point is 95% of people aren't going to actually do them every single time. And if you just do these little things, like you will be successful because like they're so easy to do and so easy not to do. And that's why so many people don't do them. And even over like Christmas break, I was in Florida with a bunch of people and they're like, how do you like, cause I like eat healthy. So they're like, how do you eat healthy? Even when we're like on vacation or like at a pool and stuff. And I'm just like, dude, like it's such an easy little choice. Like instead of just doing that, do this. And then from there, what happens is like your mind is way sharper. Like you just ate a burger and fries. Like you probably feel like shit. You're salty. So you're like puffed up. You're probably going to then get a glass of rosé, which is going to turn into a bottle, which is then you're going to like eat shit. You're going to have a good next day. Then you're not going to be sharp. You're going to miss that call. Like so many things spiral from that one decision, you know?
For sure.
So it's like,
a bottle of rosé sounds like a mistake in any setting.
Mistake.
Unless it was really good.
No, it's.
But yeah, no, I hear you. So
anyways.
Keep going. Like it's the daily things that people aren't doing. I think even there's like an admiral in the Navy that gave a presentation. He said, if you could do one thing, I think Navy SEAL too. He's like, make your bed every morning because even if you have like the worst day ever, you come back to that freshly made bed every night. You know. And it starts your day off with just a little bit of self-discipline.
Little win. You get a little win. I heard that. I was in some book. It's like you want to just get as many little wins as you can, throughout the day. And those little wins are going to like either compound or they're going to just make you like feel that confidence. I was talking to someone today about like earned confidence because there's a lot of people that have like confidence that isn't earned confidence. So like people who like inherit wealth might have like confidence, or people who are just like hot. Like they might just be confident because of that. But it's like if you've earned something, like you've built something from scratch, you've done something, you're getting these wins yourself, you're like confident in that. And then it's like that's going to carry on to the next thing. And I think similar to, making the bed, getting these little wins, like eating healthy, going to the gym, like boom, I'm on a 5-day gym streak. Oh, I'm on like a 15-day gym streak. And then it's like, so then that's going to carry over to the office. Like, hey, I need to put out content today. Like, I don't feel like it. It's like, I don't feel like it is the same thing when you say, I don't feel like going to the gym today. Like, I don't feel like eating healthy. Like, I want to like eat these mozzarella sticks or something. It's the same thing. It's just like, it's the way it translates into whether it's like your work life or your personal life or whatever it is.
That's cool, man. It's all about spending your time. Yeah, all the really, really not just famous, but the really successful people that I bump into, and so if you're at TechStars, you're probably meeting a lot of these folks too. They're really deliberate about their use of time.
Mm-hmm.
Like time is that resource.
Yeah.
I think everyone has like an article on that or a blog. Gary Vee probably does. I know Sam Graham actually he's interested in just the ability of, you've got this time, it's like opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
and then how are you going to use it? And then all the most successful people, they're planning it out in advance. I don't know if you've heard there's different journals for this. I use like the Best Self journal,
Mm-hmm.
and every morning it says, okay, what are 3 things you're grateful for today? Just starting out in that right mindset.
Yep.
Because if you have that gratitude, you're not afraid of ththings, and you're not mad at things, because you're like, this is cool, I can work from this.
Yeah.
And then it makes you literally, I say literally a lot on the show. You draw squares. It has all the hours of the day, and you draw squares, and you literally bucket in the different areas you're going to spend time. And the goal is to actually plan out the entire day.
Yep.
And I usually will pull up my phone and the calendar on there, and it has most of it. But I'll also add in, okay, I'm going to drive to the gym. I'm going to, gym time is here, prep for the podcast here. And then I know Tim Ferriss says one of the things he does is just, he'll pick one thing that day. Some people say 3 things. One thing sounds good too. And he'll set aside 2 or 3 hours just for that with no distractions. Yep. And then this Best Self journal, there's like 3 goals for the day. So the little section over there, you fill in, what are the 3 things I want to accomplish today? Everything else is gravy. What are those 3 things? I just find that in the morning, especially when I'm pliable at like 5 a.m., whatever I'll do and say, like just thinking about this stuff and writing it down. Whenever I don't do it, which has happened recently, especially if I'm traveling, or the Super Bowl, which is a whole nother matter. But when I got off my routine,
by the way, I went to that as well.
You were there too?
Last minute, like randomly went. Yeah,
dude. So. Okay, so Best Self Journal, everyone should check it out. Go get a link; it's really cool. But so you went to that too. Like, so when did you fly in?
I got a call on Thursday. Hey, my buddy has like tickets. Do you want to go to the Super Bowl? Yeah. There Friday. But kind of going, I think, to what you're saying, it's like it's difficult. So like I was on this great streak, went to the Super Bowl. Got off of the great, healthy, disciplined streak, like, because it was insane. It was like we went to this barstool party thing, so got in Friday, all day Saturday, Super Bowl Sunday, left Monday, and then I flew from Minneapolis back to New York, then back to San Francisco in the same day because I went to SaaStr, which is like a SaaS conference, and so. It going back to what we're saying, it's like hard, when that kind of stuff happens. I was actually thinking about hitting you up though. I was just all over the place.
Yeah, I flew in on Friday as well, and didn't realize that there's just stuff going on, and it's more than just the game. It's like the whole experience. And
yeah, I
ended up going to a Dave Matthews concert the night before. So Saturday night in St. Paul, they had a concert. So just stuff going on. But yeah, I did get a workout in Minneapolis at the Y, because apparently if you remember a Y in one place, you remember in all.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's really neat. It was good too because they jacked up their visitor fee to $40. So I got there and they're like, okay, $40. Now, okay, working out, you gotta summon up your inner discipline. We were just talking about that.
Yeah, you gotta value. Hey, is my health worth $40?
But then someone goes, and normally the fee was $10. I'm like, totally worth my health, one day thing. But then someone goes, okay, $40. You're like, dude, I'm trying to encourage myself to work out here. Yeah. You're going to penalize me for coming in here. But then thankfully we found out if you're a member somewhere else, no fee.
No fee.
No fee. So
wow,
that was really neat. And, while we're on that topic, they had this thing in there. I did this whole bike run thing. I was completely maxed out. And I walked by. It was a VR bike.
What?
So instead of like a Peloton bike,
I was going to say like Peloton.
No, it had a headset. And so, for all the germphobes out there, they had little wipes and stuff for it. But anyways, I'm all done my workout. I'm gonna go change, but I put this thing on anyways, and I was in a battle tank. I was in a tank. Everywhere I looked, the turret of the tank moved, and if I pedaled, then we went forward, and I could lean left or right, and we turn the tank, and I could hit something on the bike, and it would shoot a cannonball out of, or whatever you want, around out of the tank. And it was so good. And these other tanks would materialize.
Yeah.
Scanning the area, looking around, and like pedaling as far as you can to be fast so they miss you. and shoot other tanks. And there's that game, and then I drove a F1 race car where you look around you and you're in the car.
That's a different world.
Dude, I ended up doing that for like an hour.
Oh my God.
I was so tired after that. Because, but it was amazing. I flew an Apache helicopter.
That's crazy.
And the more you pedal, you can look up and down, and it'll fly up and down. I don't know what the name of this bike was. I think I'll find it.
Was there just one? Was there like a line?
There's just one.
Oh,
There's
wow.
just one. No one is using
it. I feel like you're walking out. It's like, whoo, there's like halos around the bike.
I don't know. I was like, oh, this is weird. Okay, I'll try it. But then once I tried it, I still have dreams about flying an Apache helicopter.
Oh my gosh.
Because it was in that VR thing. Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's like the turning it into a game just to sort of help with that motivation, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I used to tell people, like, that's why I like playing like basketball or like running on a treadmill. Like, I do it, but man, it sucks.
It really does.
Like, I love playing pickup basketball. It's like you run way more. You run like intervals because you're like sprinting. It's competitive. There's like a ball you're throwing in a hoop, so that's just fun. Right. Plus, you're kind of like elbowing or shouldering dudes, so you're like physical. Like, it's great, you know.
Way more so than the track or tread. You know, I've been doing training for tries this year, but I've been determined to have fun doing it. So you might be playing some soccer. You know, I have this goal to try to kick a soccer ball into a basketball hoop.
Oh, that's cool.
So I've got games. I'm running around, sweating, and I'm working out, but I'm not like locked in like a run on a treadmill.
Zombie run.
Yeah. Or watching some stupid news channel because nothing else is on there.
That's the thing, you know. That's how I consume my news unintentionally.
Is on a treadmill?
Yeah, because they only have like news. And then usually it's like 5 TVs away. There's like something good, but then I look over there and then I like fall off the treadmill, you know, because I'm like looking over at the other TV. But it's like always the one in front of you is like the like boring news with like the ticker thing at the bottom, and you're just like, oh my God, I couldn't be less interested in this. Or there's like a rerun of like the Kardashians, like right there. So you have like, man, they should. I mean, I'm sure there's like a remote. I just haven't figured out how.
Well, you know, I've been on some of the bikes where you have your own TV. But it doesn't get any better. It's still the news, the Kardashians, like something on Bravo. And then no doubt there is always at least 2 cooking shows on this.
Always, yes.
I don't understand this.
Yes.
I'm at the gym. I don't want to be talking food.
I think, I don't know what it is, but that is true. And I feel like the TVs, like to press the button to change the channel, there's such a delay. And then you're like, because you're all hyped up at the gym, and then you're like, don't want to make. At least me, I don't want it to like wait. And I'm just like, oh my God, and I end up pressing it too many times. And I'm just like,
past it. You got to come back.
Yeah, I'm like, whatever. And then it lands on like cooking, you know, and it's always like pasta, like they're cooking, they're like homemaking pasta.
Jeez. The routines we get in, right? Like the craziness, as long as you can get into that pattern and flow. So, you know, while I got you here, we were talking earlier about this pathway you took, and it seems like you're always touching a phone in one way or another, you know?
Got a phone in my hand.
It's true. And you've been looking at it like every now and then too.
Really? Well, what I wanted to show you, because we were talking about it, what I wanted to show you, you were talking about, I have this gratitude like journal that I do.
Oh, cool.
Called Gratitude. So like every day
there you go.
Write in it. That's what I was going to show you. And it's like one of those things where it's like you're kind of practicing, I guess, gratitude, but you're just also like you're thinking positive. So in this book, I forget which book, maybe The Compound Effect, but in the book, this guy and his wife were they were like fighting or arguing or something like that. The relationship wasn't great. So what he did was he either talked to someone or he did it proactively, but it was basically like write down 3 things every single day that you are appreciative or like about your wife. So even if you're like mad at her and you're like, gosh, she's being such a nagging like person, write down 3 things that you are appreciative. It's like, oh, and then so it's like every day you and then you have to just think that way, right? So now you're thinking positively. What do I like? Oh my, well, obviously like she takes, you know, whatever. She's humor, you know, I love the companionship. She's a great mother to my children. She like keeps me organized, like whatever it is. And then you're writing those things down. And then what ended up happening in this book was like he like gave it to her, and then a few things happened there. It's like obviously she was like so. Like she was just like, oh my God, thank you so much. And then now he had now his mindset was different, because instead of looking at her like, God, you know, I'm so frustrated with her and like angry at whatever little things he was getting annoyed by, he was like looking at the positive in the like macro sense. But anyway, that's why, I started doing it this year. And it's like,
so it's like Jan 1 or?
Yeah, like Jan 1. Yeah.
So it's one of those new year things you're doing that you're still doing.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, it's cool. So anyway, back to what you're saying, the path to.
Well, no, that's cool. You have 3 things on each one of those. Is that what you're doing? Just
Yeah, I do 3 a
things,
day. Yeah, I
3
do 3 a
things.
day before I go to sleep.
Yeah, that's cool. It seems like that's a magic number. Oh, you do it before you go to sleep too?
I do it before I go to sleep.
Okay.
I mean, because what happens, like, usually before I go to sleep, I'll just like veg out and like look at my phone or something, like right before I go to
Yeah.
sleep. So I actually do it like when I'm in bed. So it's like the
Yeah.
last thing I think about, and it's more of like a get your thoughts like together, think positively, like because also what's happening with me is like my mind just races before I go to sleep, and I am just like,
Totally.
all right, I need to do this, and then I'll like look over my phone and then I'll send myself like a note. I'll write a note like, don't forget to do that, and then I'll be like, oh shit, I got to do that too, or I'll like Slack someone, and it's like last night I was like, I'm up to like 2 every single night, just like thinking, and my mind's just like racing. So what happens is like that is like, all right, like just relax. Like, what are you like grateful for? And then at the end of the day, I'm just like, most of my things are like, I'm grateful for like my health, mental clarity.
Yeah.
Because I feel like really sharp right now. And there's like relationships is like a lot of this stuff.
That's cool.
So it's
That's
like,
cool. The best self journal we're talking about earlier has a thing for the morning and the evening.
oh, really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
I've been neglecting the evening one, but you're right. When I first started doing the morning one, it was like, what am I thankful for? Coffee, this warm sweatshirt,
This extra sleep
my
was
kids,
nice.
my wife, right?
Yeah.
Or like you're just thankful for certain things, but then like a muscle, right? Just like the discipline is almost like a mental muscle.
Mm-hmm.
The gratitude, you practicing that to your point daily, you kind of get better at it, and instead of being like just, hey, I'm thankful for water, you're like, I'm thankful for this and these people and this
Yeah.
opportunity. You've already checked off the basic physical stuff, and now you're really really thinking about what you're grateful for. You put it out there in the universe. It sounds like that couple, he just put it out there like, I'm just going to think about this, even if the rest of the time I'm not happy, or
Yeah.
I put this out there, and then that sort of helped transform the whole thing. So
I think it also helps you just like be like one reflect on like what's happening,
yeah,
because a lot of times you're living so like in the trenches, day to day and stuff, that
yep.
it's like it's always good to zoom out. Like for instance, if I'm getting frustrated with like our product roadmap or something like that, I'm like, what's going on? Like, when's this integration getting out? When's this part out integration getting out? Like, what's
right.
happening with it? Like, where's the thing? But it's like what happens is like I'm living in that moment at that time. I might even appear mad. I might seem mad, but it's like if I'm able to kind of zoom out a bit, be like, look, at the end of the day, like this is so awesome that we're even getting to the chance to do this. Like I remember when I was like in a cube, like that absolutely sucked. Like I had no upside. Like it was like, and then it's like, and now we have these people that are like believing in our vision as a company, and it's like amazing that they're taking their time, which is our most valuable asset, time, and they're doing this, spending it with us. So, and then at the end of the day, it's like I'm probably just not, and then you can kind of just be like, it's probably on me not managing them properly or their expectations. But it's like I'm so thankful that like they're like even down to like help on this journey and stuff. So then it's like so different than being like, what the fuck, like where's this at? Like to me, it's like, dude, it's like, thank you so much for this, and like thank like the universe for even letting us get to do this.
For sure. And then you mentioned even like it's probably your fault. It probably is your fault.
It always is my fault.
Like,
I mean, 100%. I'm not even saying that. Like it always is.
The fault boils up, and whether it's expectation setting or whatever it is,
or like lack of process that I have failed to put into place. Yeah, it's like
there's a book called Extreme Ownership. I don't know if you've heard of that.
I've heard it a lot. I haven't read it though.
It's a cool book, and the premise is just like it's your fault. So don't run around like yelling and nagging at people. Now, if someone's not doing something that they said they were going to do or whatever, that's something. But it's still, what are you going to do about it, right? And extreme ownership is like if the company as itself or the unit or whatever, the person who runs that goes, this is my fault. And rather than getting people lower than him or her to have this accountability, you go, accountability starts when the person at the top is going, this is my bad. So everyone else feels comfortable going, no, that was my bad. And it kind of trickles down.
Sure.
The person at the top is like, well, that wasn't me. I did everything myself. It was my team, then that just creates that nasty culture that people are trying to, avoid.
No, it's maybe too much. I'm like, guys, like I am not listening to enough sales calls. Like I should be like giving you guys more feedback. Like it's totally my fault. Like I'm not even giving you like a script to follow when you send this. Like, so it's all on me, but don't send that one. They're like, don't do that. But like, it's totally my fault.
And this is my fix. So now it's on you.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, we were talking about this, and I probably want to just round this out. you did mention the other day, and this was really fascinating. You're battling it out, right? It's the little guy, the simple solution, the cool solution, and you're battling it out. You got some entrenched big players that are hard to use and really expensive. And so when it comes to like Google search, those guys they've got years of ranking behind them. They've got, Newsweek linking to them and all that. So what have you been doing? What are some of the strategies you've been doing just to kind of get that attention and sort of get yourself out there?
Anything. So like
everything, anything and everything.
Yeah, anything and everything. But the thing is, I'm taking a long approach to this. Like I'm taking the long-term view on everything that we're doing. I even tell our customers that I'm like, look, I don't want to work with you for a month. I don't want to work with you for 2 months. Like I literally want to work with you in like 2025, right? I want to be working with you for 10 years. None of this little short stuff matters. And that's why, when we're selling to them, it's like, hey, no contract. You can cancel anytime. Like I'm not trying to hard sell you. Like I want to show you that this product is like going to give you so much value. You're going to ask me if you can pay me more. But anyway, we take that approach though to also like building the company, building the organic rankings and things like that. So like what we've been doing is like, if you think about it, for backlinking or organic SEO, it's like you have to get a lot of links that are to you. You have to get high authority sites that are like linking to you. So I've been like just personally building relationships, pitching blogs, pitching.
Maybe you could just dive into that topic just for a second too. The idea of that, because some people, we're talking about search engine optimization here, right? Ranking higher. And so backlinks.
Yeah.
Now this SEO kind of morphs and changes. People try to hack Google and then Google's like, screw you, I'm changing it.
Yeah.
People in India are burning flags because their whole company was built on scamming Google.
Yeah.
So what kind of approach you're taking? You're looking for people to link to you, or you're looking for what?
Yeah, well, yes, but at the end of the day, like what we're doing is like, I'm trying to just be one, we're trying to be like a thought leader in the space. We feel like we know a lot. We feel like, we're doing interesting stuff. So we're trying to make a lot of noise. We're trying to just get noticed. Okay. So that's like no one's vlogging themselves every single day going through like this tech startup accelerator. Not a lot of companies that have been around for like less than like 6 to 8 months are raising $1.2 million. So we're trying to get like press around that stuff, press around the vlog. We're getting featured in like articles like from Inc. Literally yesterday, it was like 8 top startups to watch in New York City. So like great backlink. Yeah. Great backlink
Congrats.
there. But we're taking, we're kind of like, almost like the saying brick by brick. It's like, look, we're on the front lines, just like building this thing day in, day out. We're trying to do it through great, awesome content, not just this like, text or keyword stuffed bullshit content that a lot of people, were doing, but like the consistency. And by the way, like YouTube also rewards you for uploading daily and stuff. So we're getting, I believe we're getting like Google is actually favoring us because we're on YouTube and we're uploading daily. Like I know YouTube,
that daily practice.
Yeah, YouTube favors their search results, especially for like the suggested videos for people that do that consistent uploading. And I haven't 100% confirmed, but if you search right now, call tracking software, which is like one of our top keyword, keyword, like we're number 3 or 4 organic against some of these guys that have been around for a long time. Like we have backlinks from like really good sites. But the point is like, we're taking the long-term view and we're just really trying to put out like awesome blog posts or guest articles that people are getting a ton of value from. Do you see it? Are you doing the search?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, and I'm talking in the organic. So it should be like Capterra, G2 Crowd, probably this competitor that's like not that good, and then us. So anyway, so like
exactly.
So we're doing that. And just trying to like just literally like what I'm saying is like just make noise. Like I want to be anywhere and everywhere. I want to sponsor stuff. I want to talk to people. Like I'm going to customers all the time and like meeting with them in person. And because I actually heard a stat which I found true is that someone tweeted this or said this the other day. It was like every customer that I visited in person has never canceled or has never churned. And I was reflecting back on that and I was like, I actually think that's true with me for like even in past companies that I've been involved with. And like, because one, they're more willing to. I actually wrote a blog article on Groove called like I forget, but Groove by the way is awesome, and they have a really good blog. But it was basically about building the relationships with customers, and what can you do, to stand out from the crowd? What can you do that's unscalable that no one else is doing? And it's really, and by the way, like the customers are more likely to stick around with you if something goes wrong, if you're a partner, not a vendor. And that's their whole philosophy of like, I want to be human. I want to be approachable. I want everyone to know like, Phonewagon Ryan, like I can go to him anytime I can reach him. I'm probably too available right now because it's like taking over and consuming my life. But the thing is, that's what I want to do until we get to at least a few thousand customers. And it's like actually insane. But it's like,
I'm impressed you haven't taken any customer service calls while we're on the.
I mean, I'm literally getting like live chatted right now in intercom, and I was actually like planning on it.
I'm sure you are.
I was like, oh,
well, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's another good one. I got to answer.
I mean, actually, look at that. Look, he's like, hey Ryan, can we set up a? This guy's trying to wheel and deal. He's like, can we? I don't know if you can see it. He's like, can we set up a $25 a month account?
Nice. Is he haggling on chat?
He's been haggling us for days, and I actually read an article from Stelly at Closeout.io, like just don't do discounts, and I hate doing discounts, and this guy's asking for a discount, and I'm just staying strong. I'm like, no, you're not getting a discount if like you can't afford. And I even told him yesterday, I was like, look, if you're looking for a cheap option, I can definitely show you one of our competitors. What we are here for is we're here for businesses that actually want to grow, use marketing analytics to then optimize their ad spend and grow their business. I don't want to be this like cheap solution that they're just like commoditized solution, right? If you want to grow your business and be serious, like that's what we're here for. We're going to help you. We're going to be full service, white glove. We're going to show you how it works.
It's not even that expensive though. Like what? What's the low end for you? So what's
our cheapest is $25 a month, but what we were talking about yesterday was $59 and he wanted it for $49. I was like, dude, pony up to $10 a month. Dude, like, are you kidding? That's where I was
not in a vendor stall in some foreign land where they're insulted if you don't negotiate. It's like,
it's like dollars, and I'm just doing it obviously for principle. But I'm like, dude, I'm not doing it. And if you're gonna walk away from me for $10 a month, then I don't want to work with you anyway. And like, so now he's coming back like, hey Ryan, can I get this deal? Like, I'm about to be like, dude, the price is more for you now.
Right? Just don't go listen to my podcast. We talked all about you.
I hope he does. No, he would totally. I mean, I'm like super transparent with it. I'm like, absolutely not. And the thing is, you just got to, customers just, I think some of them just like the deal. I actually tweeted this the other day. Like, I like the thrill of the deal. This is actually referring to this guy because we were just negotiating, but I feel like I get almost a high from these deals, even these small deals, even when our sales reps get the deals. I'm like, yes, that's such a win. Even when I get the same high from that as a dude from like closing like massive like funding rounds or like,
sure,
companies getting acquired. It's like just such like a awesome thing. Someone's paying real cash, real money to use something that you built out of nowhere. Granted, I'm super confident in the product now, so it's like, of course they are, but it's still cool. It's still really cool.
It's a great feeling, and I think sometimes in marketing, that was one of the biggest things that I noticed. I started doing a lot of reference calls when I was in marketing because there were some tools like Pardot that I really, really loved, and it was almost a way to be a part of that sales magic where there's this deal potentially happening and then you're the reference and you're telling people how it is and helping them feel like this is the right way to go. It was like my armchair way of like testing into the sales process. And I would do these reference calls and tell people, I would kind of hear their objections and I was like a super reference, but it was all, it was interesting because in marketing, it's almost like you're more of like a laboratory where you're tweaking things and changing things and you don't ever have that like the puff of blue smoke and then now there's a gold bar, you turn lead into gold, do it again. It's like you don't have that sort of sales transaction type thing. And so anytime in marketing you can have that experience or join a sales call, or be a reference just to hear how sales does their thing, then that was really helpful for me. And then for sure I made that transition and get into more sales because it is fun. It's addicting to have that little ding on your phone that says you just closed something or that you've been working on that deal for a long time and the DocuSign digital contract comes back and it says you've closed this thing. You might be at dinner and they're like, what are you looking at? I'm like, nope, that's cool. I just needed to see that.
Yeah, no, it's addicting for sure. It's crazy. I mean, I'm glad I'm addicted to that than anything else, but it's definitely.
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say. I mean, it's definitely like even, I get it. And it's also, when we were building the product, we were reading this book called Hooked. It's how to build habit forming products. And I feel like, some of the triggers that I have, or I guess the reward mechanisms that I have just when we make sales, like again, I get push notifications from this app that's tied to Stripe. So it's like ding, ding. And I feel this like almost like I'm hitting like a slot machine, which also has those same types of triggers built in. And it like really like releases something. It's like crazy. And I truly get this like high. It's crazy. And like, even when I'm like out and I see it, I'm just like, fuck it. And I like literally do that. Or like during the day we'll get a deal. Like we have a gong now. We like ring the gong, which is cool. But even when it closes, or if a customer live chats like, hey, can you upgrade me? Like even them telling me I still have to manually upgrade. I'm just like, yes, customer just upgraded, So it's
That's awesome.
These little things are just so cool. And, I'm still like super excited about them. And I think also what happens then is, it's like contagious. So then our sales team gets like obviously super excited because I'm just like personally genuinely enthusiastic about it. And then they're getting enthusiastic. Like they set a demo. They're like, yeah, I got the demo set. I'm like, all right, cool. Let's get them to show and then let's get them to close.
Yeah. Well, I think we need to celebrate more too, right? Too much of the habits in life. They're like, oh no, stay quiet. Don't disturb everyone. Like take a moment. If you earned it, man, enjoy that. Celebrate.
100%. Yeah.
Well, awesome, man. So one quick thing, you mentioned the Groove. Is that what's that?
So Groove, it's help desk software. So Groove,
was just their blog that you read something on? Is that?
I've read a lot. They have a great blog, but I also did a guest post on there. It was one of the like 2 guest posts that I've done that did pretty well for us. That's what I'm saying. It's like all about systematizing those things like that. Yeah, it's great to get these like one-time guest posts, but it's like you need to build. And I'm saying this not like because we have done it, but it's like because we need to do it. But
because you're telling yourself, yeah,
it's like you need to build systems and like systematize that to do it consistently. Because the thing is, like, if we had done what we're going to do, it's not like we've like lost the opportunity, but it's like if you've done that over time, like imagine if we're putting out a banger post like that every single week, like
right,
that shit would just catch fire.
Yep.
Assuming the content.
It's like the gym, right? I mean, you can't make one blog post, 30 pages. Once a month and expect that's going to make up for just a daily practice or a weekly, especially when it comes to search engine optimization, work. Like you said, YouTube, credit to you. Google appreciates fresh content. You gotta have that out there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, all of that stuff. And by the way, there's also things to do that are cool. Like what we've done, even with our vlogs, I think I was telling you, it's like we embed all the vlogs onto its own blog post page. So it's a video, the video that's from YouTube embedded onto the page. We get it transcribed from Fiverr, all searchable content, boom. And we kind of tuck it away in the site, but it's still there. It's still kind of like searchable. But now we have like a lot of pages with the video embedded with the like text of the actual, video. And then, so it's like we have 100 videos, 100 pages, all text right there. And it's like, using things like that to kind of pull people in. And then it's like people land on the page. One, we're retargeting them, which is awesome just if they hit the page. But then there's like call to action sort of at the bottom and on the side and stuff. So now you're expanding your pages, Google's thinking you're like rich, rich content is inside of the pages. Plus you're cooking people that are tapping you from that. Like all this good stuff is happening, where I think like that consistency and that kind of volume in quantity, assuming it's not shit,
right?
Is all gonna, again, kind of going back, it's all gonna compound, right? It's all gonna compound. It's all gonna like kind of bring in, the one deal that then brings in another deal. And I just think like, if you kind of pace things back, it's like, look, that thing that you did, you thought didn't matter. Like this vlog that we thought didn't matter is this, then this. Now you're maybe go to the Pardot guys and those Pardot guys, boom, maybe we hit one whale with that. Then one whale, like so many things can kind of spiral from just doing the little things.
Totally. And, I also, from that, I got, not only doing the consistency, but allowing people to, like you said, like if phone is the way they want to contact you, let them do phone. If they want to fill out a form, they want to send email, whatever, give them the opportunity to, or chat bot, or live chat. But also with the content, it's like give them the content that they want or how they want to consume it. So like even this, some people are listening on Stitcher, iTunes, or one of those apps, and then other folks are watching us with the amazing lighting, right? On
amazing
YouTube,
lighting.
Right? And then also hardcoremarketing.com, we've got write-ups, we've got show notes and things like that. So it's like consume it however you want, Oh, there you go.
This phone booth has rules. I don't know if we followed the rules.
Have you seen that there's like a site like passive aggressive signs. I don't know if it's like .com. Have you heard of that?
No.
It's a collection, passive aggressive memes, notes. Let's see here. What is it?
Can you read that?
Yeah, it's
is that backwards or no?
Please use our phone booths for. So what he's doing for those listening, he's got a sign here. Please use our phone booths for calls only. And then I can't read the rest. It's like a vision test.
Yeah.
What's the rest say?
Not intended to be a space for calls longer than an hour. Podcasts, a quiet place to nap, a place to leave your dog. I was kidding about the podcast, but
well, okay, I just found it. It's passiveaggressivenotes.com.
Okay.
And these are people that are in companies where there's always that one person. Maybe they're not in HR, but maybe they are, but they always leave this little sign. Let's see. Never above 70 degrees. Donna, bring a sweater. And that's on like a thermostat. And then there's a bunch of bottles in the sink.
Wait, that's hilarious.
Right? There's a bunch of bottles in the sink where someone put some thought bubbles from the bottle. What are you doing here? Don't know. Yeah, I'm clean. Right? I've seen other ones. There's like a top one here somewhere, but some of these are hilarious. Well, one of them was some design agency where let's see here. Design agency. Someone wrote, "Hey, we're a design agency, so that's it. It's called Comic Sans, I think. Here, okay, we'll find it. But essentially, it said something like, it was a passive aggressive note, and there was a note back to it saying, we're a world-winning design agency. Don't use Comic Sans. And
I think I've seen that.
Right, and then someone else wrote something back to them on that. It just is this war of passive-aggressive notes.
That's so funny.
That is a fun site to check out there. Jeez. So okay, I'm glad you're using. This is a phone call, technically.
Yeah. No. Yeah. We're on There's a phone. Yeah, and we're talking about phone calls as well.
Yeah. And I love the idea of every customer. You said this earlier. Every customer I've ever visited, I've never, has never churned. And are you going to try to start visiting them yourself, or have you already?
Not really, but I haven't really at any type of consistent velocity, but I am going to.
Do you have some local ones?
Yeah. We have local ones. I'm actually going to Florida this weekend. I'm going to try to visit with a few. I'm going to Texas on Monday, and we're going to try to visit a few there. So I want to I actually want to create a goal around it. Like, hey, 10 customers a month, which I think is not crazy. If I'm in the city, there's few within, call it like an hour or two. Like I really want to go out of my way. Like I'll train, we have one pretty big customer on Long Island, easy to get to obviously, but not right in our backyard. We have a few in New York City. So it's look, just go there. I also started, by the way, just emailing customers proactively, just being like, hey, just checking in. Hey, just curious how everything's going. Can you just let me know, I'm just curious, literally anything. Yeah. And then, I'm getting people like, hey, Ryan, some people are like, it's okay. Everything's great. Love it. And then I get some that are like, hey, it'd be really great if it could do this, and I think what that does, one, it shows them that I'm listening, that I care. And then I'm getting ahead of potential churn, So if they tell me, oh, this person's really wants this, or this person's looking for this, maybe we have, in one case, we have it. So I just need to be like, oh, let's hop on a call. We actually have that. Would love to show you how to set it up. And with one, it's oh, that's coming out soon, So if they didn't know that, they might have started shopping because it's oh, I can't do this with Phonewagon, but it's no, it's coming out soon. And if they knew that, then they wouldn't churn. But it's if you catch them too late, after they've already picked their new solution, they fell in love with it. Maybe they're the champion at the company, they presented it, they can't fall back now because they're so excited about it. That's when you lose the customers. But if you're proactive and you can catch them before that happens, let them know, boom, they don't even do the search. Or maybe you just start to hear things from your customers. Maybe our investors are telling us right now, we have 240 customers right now. We're adding 60 a month. Okay. And they're telling us look, you guys don't even know that you have product market fit. And at first I wanted to be everyone loves us, we're great. And I'm like, oh, that's fair. Cause they're if you did, you would have more than that and it would be flying off the shelves and stuff. And I could argue against that and be well, we're early. It's hard to find. It's a competitive market and stuff like that. And then, I guess to their point is well, maybe there would be zero churn. If you truly had perfect product market fit, there'd be no churn except for the business goes out of business, which isn't happening. People are churning for really low. Our churn is really, really good. It's this month is actually going to be net negative churn, which is crazy. But we probably
Nice.
lost like 5 customers this month, which is like 2%, which is pretty good for a SaaS company. But
there is also, I mean, it's a tough number because sometimes, if a person changes and the staff change and someone comes in and like, I prefer this, like they just bring in their own tool, even if it's the worst tool. We see that a lot with marketing automation.
Yep.
Hey, I prefer this worst tool that takes twice as long to implement, but it's the tool that I know, so I'm going to bring it in.
Yeah, so we definitely see that. I'm trying to. We're also finding something similar happening where people are. Well, 2 things kind of related to that. One, they're going into a company and they're like inheriting these tools and they're saying like, why are we using this? Like, I want to use something that's like more modern, not as expensive and easier to use. Boom, then we'll be the solution. And then actually I have 3 different use cases. And then we have one use case where they're at their company, they work at an agency or something like that. And then they want to kind of do this on the side. So they're like, I know at my agency, we're using this really big, expensive call tracking system, but I want to do this on the side for a few clients, just like, as a side project. And I know I need to use call tracking. Or I know I need to use marketing automation, and my company uses this massive system, but I want to just do something, quick and dirty. And then we're getting those people. So it's like they're introduced to space through work. They know they don't love it. Maybe they've inherited it. They're not changing at work, but they're doing this on the side. And we are seeing a lot of marketers also like break out from these agencies and kind of do it on their own. A lot of times, all they need is the tool set. If they have the skill set, all they need is then like the right tools to do it, which these tools are like all SaaS products that they can all get, off the shelf. They need like SEMrush, maybe marketing automation, some call tracking, maybe some keyword research stuff. And like, that's it, maybe a landing page, tool or just to know how to code into WordPress, but like they can do campaigns and they can, have 10 clients, each paying $2,000, management fees on top of ad spend and like make decent money. Like it's not that hard. And we're seeing that happen a lot right now.
Huh. And you mentioned the listening to the customers too, and just hearing what they're saying, and it reminded me. Drift, one of the chat apps. I think we're going to chat with them in a couple of weeks. They had this whole video. Apparently, they brought in a bunch of people. They're asking them things. They all were saying the same thing. Like, I really need this. Really need this. And so they actually blew up their product roadmap. They just blew it up, tossed it out, and did this feature, and surprised everyone. Was like, we're actually going to do this feature because everyone said the exact same thing, not even in the same room with each other. They all said this. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And then I think, David even have a blog post on why I hate product roadmaps now. Because apparently,
I think I saw that article.
Yeah. So it's all about listening, and it's interesting that the phone, it's kind of cool that you're all about the listening because the phone is one of the best ways you can listen. It's two directions as opposed to a form or something else where it might be just one direction until you actually, send them on. So good stuff, man. Well, we're burning the midnight oil here. What are some of the ways we can people can follow you, find out more about you, get connected, and also Phonewagon? What are some of the good URLs, deets, all that?
Yeah. So obviously, phonewagon.com. You can sign up for a free trial. No credit card required. 14-day free trial. You can get a number. Test it out. Would love to get your feedback either way. By the time this podcast is out, we'll have Pardot, Salesforce Integration out.
Nice.
So you can actually track the calls that are the most valuable lead source that you're getting that are converting into customers at 3 times the rate. So track the calls is incredibly important. You can follow me on Twitter or Instagram at Ryan A. Shank or Phonewagon at Phonewagon, and then YouTube, just youtube.com/Ryan Shank. We do we're doing at least a video a week right now. We were doing daily vlogs, but follow me Twitter. I'm tweeting a lot these days. Just kind of I actually have a very curated Twitter feed right now. It's really nice. It's like all business, like all like marketing and SaaS people.
No toothbrushing in there and.
No. Oh, no.
Overshares. Yeah.
No overshares.
Brushing my teeth today.
No. I sometimes go wild late at night where I just have all these thoughts and I just put them on Twitter.
Cool.
But yeah, check us out. And would love to get feedback. Would love to do a demo with you or the team. And show you what we have. We're seeing a ton of marketers, agencies, and also in-house marketers getting a lot of value. So that'd be awesome to show to you guys.
Definitely, I'm excited about connecting up on the Pardot Salesforce connector, getting the word out to all the people we're working with too. That you don't have to have a black hole when it comes to phone tracking anymore. And you don't have to go crazy with some gigantic tool that you'll never be able to implement.
Exactly.
Exciting.
Exactly. Cool, man.
Cool, man. Hey, thanks for coming out. I'm looking forward to staying in touch and letting everyone know about this connector. So thanks again.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me.
All right. That's it, guys. Catch you on the next one.